Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 67 of our trip across the United States. Today is our first full day in Wisconsin, and we're gonna have 8 full days in Wisconsin, not counting a couple of admin days coming up this weekend. This morning, we're starting our morning off in Fred Smith's Concrete Sculpture Park. As we have seen with the theme of so many places so far, this entire park is a tribute to what one person can accomplish if they set their mind to it. It's pretty neat, and I think you're gonna like it too. For our routing today through Wisconsin, we're going to be making our way west and north to the tip of the state. And then as the week progresses, we're going to be slowly making our way south to the southern end of the state, zigzagging from west, drop south, go east, drop south, go west, drop south, etc. Today's route only calls for about 150 miles, and of that, we covered 50 last night. The reason we only had 150 miles on the schedule is because we were going to be doing the Tri-County Corridor of Geocaches, which is 81 geocaches spread around this trail system. I can tell you right now, Ashland's not going to be okay with that. So instead, we're going to probably cover about a mile or two of that, and then we're going to get right on to our miles for the next day. That's okay with us, because this weekend, we're meeting up with our friends Vegas duo. We're going to spend all day Saturday and all day Sunday hanging out with them. If we can get ahead on our time, we can meet them as early as noon on Friday, which is what we're aiming for. So if we can shave a few hours off our schedule in the next few days, we can add that time back in to getting to see our friends that much earlier. And we are very excited about that, so that's actually going to be our goal, is to make sure that we're moving quickly and that we're getting ahead a little bit each day from where we should have been. The weather today is fantastic. I think it's going to turn out to be a great day, and I can't wait to see what our first full day in Wisconsin has to show. So why don't you come along with us and check it out? Aichan and I really enjoyed our trip through the Wisconsin Concrete Park. This extraordinary outdoor museum of over 230 concrete sculptures was built between 1948 and 1964 by Fred Smith, a retired lumberjack, tavern owner, self-taught artist, and avid musician who loved regaling people with his fiddle and mandolin. Fred Smith was born in 1886 to German immigrants in Price County. Although Smith was illiterate, he made a living harvesting pine trees in regional lumber camps. As a young man, Smith homesteaded and built a barn and a house on this location where he raised 5 children with his wife Alta. In 1936, Smith hired the Rasky brothers to build the Rock Garden Tavern where Rhinelander beer was served to locals. Smith assisted in the tavern's construction by creating his own decorative concrete blocks. He retired in 1948 and with his newfound passion for masonry, embarked on an ambitious 16-year sculpture project we now know as the Wisconsin Concrete Park. The underlying structure of each piece began with wood, metal pipe, and wire, which was then covered in wet concrete and embellished with beer bottle pieces, mirror shards, colored glass, reflectors, and rocks. His work depicts aspects of northern Wisconsin history, told through representations of regional settlers, their local myths and legends, animals, Native Americans, and events of national and deeply personal significance. His final and most ambitious piece was a beer wagon with drivers and a team of Clydesdale horses. When asked why he did it, Smith simply said, "It's got to be in you to do it." And indeed it was. Fred Smith proclaimed his work a gift to all the American people. So as the state of Wisconsin is happy to bring this tour to the locals in the area, I'm happy to share it with all of you as well. But this is one of those many places where pictures and videos just don't do adequate justice to the site. So if you ever find yourself in the northern part of Wisconsin, you should definitely add the Wisconsin Concrete Park to your must-do list. Now onward with today's adventure. Here we go, making our way through Wisconsin today. Oh yeah. Our first stop on our tour through the northern end of the state was the town of Mellon. Well, I do often find these kind of informational signs helpful. I can't quite figure out who paid to get this one put in here. Wait, what are we directing? From where? But okay, hey, at least we know after the game there's Dusty's Bar over there. The road through Mellon was under construction, so even finding our way to Dusty's Bar was quite a feat. Instead, we weaved our way through orange barricades so we could come visit the Veterans Memorial in town, because we could practically hear this old World War I tank trying to creep its way through the streets. This whole region of Wisconsin is rife with artesian wells. And each well is a gourmet selection of delicious, crisp, refreshing water. The flow rate and temperature of each artesian well is a little bit different. Definitely one of the slowest flowing artesian wells I've ever seen. Barely a trickle. Using this 5-gallon container, we're going to measure just how quickly the flow rate on this artesian well is. Go. Five gallons in 44 seconds, which means about 8 seconds per gallon, because I was a little slow at getting up there at first. So we're going to say this artesian well produces at 7 gallons a minute. And a cool drink of water for a well-deserving dog. Hoi hoi. Come here. Some nice cool 59-degree artesian well water. That's good, isn't it? Refreshing. Once we had thoroughly quenched our thirst, we made our way into Ashland. Our first glimpse of the city was the playground at Bayview Park, which holds a fantastic viewing spot over Lake Superior. Yeah, no thanks. Not thirsty anymore, big guy. Instead, let's see if we can find one of the nearby geocaches. And what do we have here? This may be a pine tree, but this is not your average pine cone. It's a bit screwy. Well, that's definitely a custom 3D printed container. You gotta love that. Then it was off to tour the murals of the city. It was still cool in the early morning hours, and the dog was letting me know she really needed to walk. So rather than driving through the murals, we decided to tour them on foot. This provided us not only a lot of opportunity to appreciate each mural, but also discover other little treasures hidden within the city along the way. It must be pretty cool to catch a show here right on the shores of Lake Superior. Every mural around the city tells a different piece of its history and story. And even though the multi itself only brought us to 6 murals, we were able to discover a great many more as we walked along the course of Main Street. My personal favorite, of course, was the Veterans mural. The artists had advertised for photographs of veterans in the local newspaper. They selected veterans from each branch of service and captured their likeness across the wall. Then, in 2005, during the dedication, many of the veterans represented here came to stand under their portrait with their families. And the detail in this one is just surreal. There are a great many more murals spread around the streets of Ashland than we have the time to show you here. So this may just be another spot you have to come see for yourself one day. It really is impressive. So long, Ashland. It was nice catching you. But we're on our way to Manitou Falls. And this is really quite the sight because it offers you a double dose. Not only do you get to see the big Manitou Falls here, but if you head just a short ways down the river, you can catch a glimpse of the small Manitou Falls as well. Apparently, I'm just feeling the multis today because somebody lured me out here with the promise of an easy multi. So we're going to put that theory to the test and see just how easy a very easy multi can be. We're only a few feet from stage 1 now, and my geosenses have lit up on this log. Oh yeah, that's the spot all right. And there's the prize we're looking for. Now let's see what's happening with stage 1. Just gotta get the paper out and see what it says. Stage 1. Open the other 4 stages to the final. Maybe you'll be lucky and find it on your first try. Alright, so there's easy multis, And then there's this contraption. And there we have it. Stage 1, Stage 2, multis made easy. It was a pretty long drive through the country from there, but there were a couple of interesting giant animals to take in along the way. For some reason, I'm starting to get a bit hungry here. Good thing I can always satisfy my appetite with a few geocache finds. This looks a bit more edible than the berries all around it. Hello, little guy. Still in need of a snack, we decide to drop by a local library to take a look inside a book and follow the reading rainbow. And then that was it. By the time we stepped out of the library, we were treated to a beautiful sunset. Once again, that setting sun is telling us that our caching day has almost come to an end. But what a great first day in Wisconsin it turned out to be. If you had asked me this morning how this day would have turned out, I definitely would have lied to you because it did not turn out anything like what I'd expected. But it was so much better and everything kind of fell into place the right way. When we got into Ashland, it was just a little bit before lunchtime and Aichun was definitely in need of a walk. So we decided to take on the 6-stage multi to go pursue the murals around town. And those were some great murals. By the time we finished that walk, she was pretty tired and she decided to take a nap. That nap lasted for about 5 hours. So when we got to the Tri-County corridor, where I was planning on hiking about 8 miles for the letterbox trail, it was clear between her napping and it being 90 degrees in Wisconsin, it just was not going to work today. Again, that's fine with us because we're meeting our friends Vegas duo for the weekend, and we know that if we get ahead far enough, we'll be able to get there a whole day ahead of time, and it looks like we're going to do that. Not only did we start ahead this morning from where we were last night, but we already crunched over halfway through tomorrow's route as well. So I don't see any problem at all with us getting able to finish a full day ahead of schedule and getting a 3-day weekend with our friends instead of 2. She's adorable, isn't she? Yeah, she really likes this grass too. Maybe we'll get another shot of her rolling around in it. We might get that right now. Tomorrow's schedule only calls for about 4 hours worth of driving, another 180 miles, give or take. Yeah, go ahead. Well, there we go. I'm telling you, this is fantastic grass here. If it's Aichun approved, you know it's good. All right, you ready again? Tomorrow's schedule is going to be pretty easy too, so we're going to jump ahead on that and we're going to keep moving through the miles. I'll let Aichun decide when we're hiking, when it's too hot, and when it's time to just keep doing those park and grabs. The only exception is when we have to do a hike, and then, you know, we'll figure that out as we go. Either way, it turned out to be a great first day in Wisconsin, and I think the rest of the time we spend here is going to be just as good. We're looking forward to putting that theory to the test, and we're looking forward to continue bringing you great shots like this of the state of Wisconsin as we travel from the north end all the way down to the south end. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.